Ben, and welcome to my little webinar session, afternoon edition on how to rescue your game. Now, you're probably thinking, what do you mean by rescue? What's the whole gist here? I'll get into that and give you a little bit of my thoughts on why I decided to go and tackle this topic, I suppose. So let's get into it and see. We'll give you a little intro to who I am. Specifically. Like I said, I'm Ben. I work business development here at Fundamentally Games. I'm also a massive dork. Play far too many video games, specifically anything and everything competitive related. Reason I've got Overwatch and Dota on here is I used to play for my university teams as Keeper of the Light, and well, it used to be Mercy. Now I've got Brigitte up here because I am a Brigitte one trick essentially, and that is my new guilty pleasure, I suppose. There's also a lovely little picture of myself in cosplay, enjoying sitting on the throne. Good old little bit of the throne of Westeros going on there, and obviously there's some added business involved now. So when I did my previous webinar, I used pretty much the same slide, but there was no business because I'd done some biz dev, but I hadn't been able to, thanks to COVID, actually go out into the world and meet people in person. It was very much the whole, stuck behind the webcam sort of situation. It was fine, but I wanted to make sure that I really got some clout going out there first. And, I'll stick on and basically go into what I wanted to talk about and where this discussion idea is coming from. So, what is on the agenda? As we've got, like I said earlier in the earlier edition, I am not sticking New World up here just to pick on that game. I tried it out. I think the game's gorgeous. However, we cannot ignore the fact that that is a lot of red on this picture that I've chosen. That is a lot of red, and that means a lot of something going wrong. And something that is in need of fixing. Now, this isn't exclusive to these, giant AAA games. It could be something that can affect even the smallest indie game, and that is, issues. We're going to go into that. But where did this discussion idea come from? Is what I want to get at the moment. And essentially, for the longest time, I've been playing LiveOps games before I even knew what the term was, basically. And I would often think to myself, why? How is it possible, or what's going on here when myself and some friends would play a game together, it would come out, we'd be super excited for the release, but it just wouldn't hit right. Maybe there's some issues with the first season of the game. Maybe there's some bugs going on. There's something that's stopping us from enjoying it to its fullest potential. So we'd leave it. We'd leave it for a bit, and we'd come back, a year later, 6 months later, whatever, and something's happened and they've made it better. They've now, they've got it to a point where we are now actively playing this game. I think the number one example for this, personally speaking, for me and my friends, was Sea of Thieves. We played for about a week solid when it came out, and realized very, very soon after the fact that it was a little bit empty, a little bit on the empty side. There wasn't too much going on, so we left it. We all uninstalled the game, and I think around last year they dropped a huge patch, huge content update for the game. I think it was the Pirates of the Caribbean related one. We hopped back in and we were playing that for weeks. It was no longer in the sense of we played for a week, we realized that we were done. We were now fully invested in the game, and getting back into something that clearly they'd managed to figure out how to fix it. And I really wanted to tackle this idea specifically now that I've been in business development and being able to actually talk and sit down with some of these minds behind some of these rescued games that I know or that have been, in the industry news, and essentially ask them how they did it and how they went around doing it, so I could then go tell other people how to potentially save it. Yeah, as I'll go into detail later, it's one of the benefits of LiveOps games that we have the opportunity to do that. So I'll get into it and delve into some more specifics, I suppose. So what I'm not here to talk to you about, and like I said, I do business development and I play games. What I do not do is make games. I cannot sit here and tell you how to better optimize your game. I can't tell you how to get better server backends. I cannot tell you about bug squishing apart from just focus on bug squishing. I'm not here to tell you that. What I'm here to focus on is the blend of feedback and opinions that I've managed to see and collect from anything from, developers, investors, publishers, through to players, content creators, influencers, whatever you have it. And essentially put that all together and go, hey, this is what all these groups of people think with completely different ideas. Is there something we could do that puts all these ideas together and makes the game better? And yeah, like including some little GIFs in here you'll see along the way. I'm trying to make it a little bit more exciting rather than some flat images. So when I was writing the article for this that is an accompanying piece, I was thinking let's give it a nice little medical analogy to it, I suppose. So let's put yourselves in the position of your game is out, it's released, it's out there in the world. Maybe you're gearing up to release season 1 of your game, right? Let's say there's seasons or whatever. Let's put yourselves in that. But there's something not quite right. You're seeing those red numbers, like I said, with that New World picture. You're seeing some issues when it comes to community feedback, and you've got to go to Game Doctor. All right, and I am the gaming MD today. If I had one of those little blue surgical face masks, I would go fetch one, but I do not. I'm fully out of them after my tryst of wearing too many during COVID, I suppose. And I want to look at the symptoms. What is going wrong? What are some symptoms I can address in this short time that we've got today? So I want to look at player count as being one of obviously the easiest to see symptoms if something's going wrong. You got player count, right? Community negativity and low revenue. These are the main 3 things. We're going to go through that very much, bullet point fashion style, and include a little picture there of Final Fantasy, simply because this is one of the best examples of turning around a game, rescuing a game. It launched in not a great state. Square, obviously, they've got a lot of resources. Don't think this is exclusive. That saving a title is only exclusive to these big studios. It's obviously all relevant. Things can be scaled back and scaled forward and so on and so forth. But, we want to see more green. I think we can all agree that green is good, right? We want more of that stuff. Let's get into the player count. So what could be going wrong? You've started with, let's throw a ballpark number out there. You started with 25,000 players on week 1 of launch. You're going into the first month and you're not doing good. We're going into a situation where we're maybe around the 1,000 player mark, 2,000 player mark. We're dropping off a lot of players here, and there is some severe, quick after week 1 player drop off. What could be going wrong? I'm highlighting a few things here, but is it too much grind? Have you got a system in the game? Maybe it's based around your battle pass or based around your leveling system or whatever it is that you've got for the player's progression. It's just too grindy. Maybe it's on the case of you're giving people daily grinds that are just too much to do in one day. So players are feeling like it's unobtainable. They're not even giving it a go. Or it's a grind where it's just taking so long to get from point A to point B in whatever sense you've got. If we're doing a battle pass level 1 to 100, someone's worked out that in order to play from level 1 to 100, you're going to have to play for 8 hours plus a day. And for a lot of players, they just don't have that time. Not everyone is able to commit hardcore hours to a game. And when you've got a live service system, these progression systems and these grinds are not bad in any sense of the term. Like I love a good grind. I love ARPGs. I love sitting there just grinding mobs, or I love grinding battle pass levels in games. But it needs to feel like it's fair, and the time that I'm putting in is actually netting me levels and netting me something out of that grind. And that leads into the perceived value of something. So when we're implementing things such as cosmetic rewards or any sort of reward in a game, it needs to feel like this reward that the player is striving for, that I'm striving for, you're striving for, is cool, or it's giving you some sort of, maybe it's an advantage. Maybe if not in a sense of like a pay to win advantage, but in a sense of, if I can grind through this entire thing, at the very end of this progression system that you're giving me, I'm going to get maybe a catch-up system if I want to make a new character or go a new way or something along those lines, or maybe it's going to buff my character in the whole season in general just to make it easier if I want to replay some content. That has to feel worth the grind going all the way up there. I'll go into more details as to how that can be fixed, later on. But if these are too bad or are perceived as being not worth it, players just won't play. I mean, sure, you'll have, super hardcore players that really have fallen in love with your game that will play it, but this will be an absolute minimum usually. And that's not what we want. We want to be making the majority of players happy. That's sort of the vibe we're going for here. And then bugs. I said I'm not going to tell you how to fix them. I will tell you, however, that that is an absolute problem. I'm sure, it's the most obvious thing I can say. Bugs are bad. If there's too many bugs on launch that are impacting your player's experience within potentially their first few hours of play, they might just give up. I know right now, just to give an actionable example, Call of Duty Warzone 2 just came out, and the online is riddled with bugs. The Warzone online, and for a whole bunch of my friends, it's too much for them. I personally really like the game, so I'm sticking with it. I don't mind if my game crashes or there's a bug. I'll look past it because I'm enjoying what else there is to offer. But I'd say for probably 8 out of 10 of my friends, if we're going by that mark, and then some other people in other like Discord communities that I'm in, they've already uninstalled. They're annoyed. It's considered a waste of time for them. And server stability is an extension of this. If your back end is not prepared, if your game suddenly goes crazy and goes really well, and you're having disconnects and bad lag, that's going to cause player drop off. It's as simple as that. Now, I can't sit here and tell you that the simple answer is just download more servers, which is what players are going to tell you. They're going to be like, just press that button and give me more servers. Just be prepared. If your game somehow goes viral or something along those lines, this will be an issue that will pop up, and just be ready for that to potentially negatively impact your player count. But regardless, I don't want to go too deep into that one yet. We'll address some of the other issues first. But moving into, what's the prescription here, Doc? You're asking. FOMO, you see that in the lovely little GIF I've included, is an excellent little tweak that you can stick in there. It works wonders if you can include